Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravana Chari Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravana Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Radha Madhava Yomishpad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtottara Sata Sri Srimad Divine Grace Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Shri Shri Radha Madana Mohan Ki Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai Ki Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Harinam Sankirtan Mahayagna Ki Jagat Gurupati Pavan Srila Prabhupada Ki Dai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru Gauranga and Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 2, Text number 7. Activities of Maharaj Agnidra. Katvam Chikirshasi Chakile Katvam Chikirshasi Chakim Munivara Shaile Maya Shikapi Bhagavat Paradevataya Maya Shikapi Bhagavat Paradevataya Vijye Bhibarshi Dhanushi Suratmanorthe Vijye Bhibarshi Dhanushi Suratmanorthe Mrugan Mrugayase Vipine Pramattan Kimva Mrugan Mrugayase Vipine Pramattan Katvam Chikirshasi Chatkim Munivarya Shaile Katvam Chikirshasi Chakim Munivarya Shaile Maya Shikapi Bhagavat Paradevataya Maya Shikapi Bhagavat Paradevataya Vijye Bibarshi Dhanushi Suradatmanorthe Vijye Bibarshi Dhanushi Suradatmanorthe Kimva Mrugan Mrugayase Vipine Pramattan Kimva Mrugan Mrugayase Vipine Pramattan Creative. Ka, who, tvam, are you? Chikirshasi, are you trying to do? Cha, also. Kim, what? Munivarya, O best of Munis. Shaile, on this hill. Maya, illusory potency. Asi, are you? Kapi, some. Bhagavat, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Paradevatayaha, of the Transcendental Lord. Vijay, without strings. Bibarshi, are you carrying? Dhanushi, two bows. Suhrat, of a friend. Atmanaha, of yourself. Arthe, for the sake. Kimva, or Mrugan, forest animals. Mrugayashe, are you trying to hunt? Vipine, in this forest. Pramattan, who are materially maddened. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The prince mistakenly addressed the Apsara. O best of saintly persons, who are you? Why are you on this hill? And what do you want to do? Are you one of the illusory potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? You seem to be carrying two bows without strings. What is the reason you carry these bows? Is it for some purpose of your own or for the sake of a friend? Perhaps you carry them to kill the mad animals in this forest. Purport. While undergoing severe penances in the forest, Agnidra was captivated by the movements of Purvachiti, the girl sent by Lord Brahma. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Kamaistaistir Hrutajnanaha. When one becomes lusty, he loses his intelligence. Therefore, Agnidra, having lost his intelligence, could not distinguish whether Purvachiti was male or female. He mistook her for a Muniputra, the son of a saintly person in the forest, and addressed her as Munivarya. Because of her personal beauty, however, he could not believe her to be a boy. He therefore began studying her features. First he saw her two eyebrows, which were so expressive that he wondered whether he or she might be the Maya of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The words used in this connection are Bhagavat Paradevatayaha, Devataha, the demigods. All belong to this material world. Whereas Bhagavan, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krsna, is always beyond this material world and is therefore known as Paradevata. The material world is certainly created by Maya, but it is created under the direction of Paradevata, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Mayadhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. Maya is not the ultimate authority for the creation of material world. Maya acts on behalf of Krishna. Purvachiti's eyebrows were so beautiful that Agnidra compared them to bows without strings. He therefore asked her whether they were to be used for her own purposes or for the sake of someone else. Her eyebrows were like bows meant to kill the animals in the forest. This material world is like a great forest, and its inhabitants are like forest animals such as the deer and the tigers meant to be killed. The killers are the eyebrows of beautiful women. Captivated by this beauty of the fair sex, all the men of the world are killed by the bows without strings, but cannot see how they are killed by Maya. It is a fact, however, that they are being killed. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. By dint of his tapasya, Agnidra could understand how Maya acts under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word Pramattan is also significant. Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadramai, Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki. The word Pramattan is also significant. Pramatta refers to the one who cannot control his senses. The entire material world is being exploited by people who are pramatta or vimudha. Prahlad Maharaj therefore says, Soche tato vimukha chetasa indriyartha maya sukhaya bharam udvahato vimudhan. They are rotting in material activities for transient material pleasures, spoiling their lives, toiling all day and night simply for sense gratification, with no attachment for love of Godhead. I am simply lamenting for them and devising various plans to deliver them from the clutches of Maya. Bhagavatam 7.9.43. Karmis who act very seriously for sense gratification are always referred to in the Shastras by terms such as Pramatta, Vimukha, Vimudha. They are killed by Maya. However, one who is Apramatta, a sane, sober person, a Dhira, knows very well that a human being's primary duty is to render service to the Supreme Person. Maya is always ready to kill those who are Pramatta with her invisible bows and arrows. Agnidra questioned Purvachitti about this. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat after me. The prince mistakenly addressed the Apsara. O best of saintly persons, who are you? Why are you on this hill? And what do you want to do? Are you one of the illusory potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? You seem to be carrying two bows without strings. What is the reason you carry these bows? Is it for some purpose of your own or for the sake of a friend? Perhaps you carry them to kill the mad animals in this forest. Mukam karoti machalam pangum langayate girim yat krupatamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for joining us for the morning Bhagavatam program. Agnidra is completely influenced. Actually, we should say not influenced, he's been deluded by the beauty of this lady Purvachiti, Apsara. So much illusioned and in some kind of illusion that he addresses her as if she is a Muni Putra, son of a saint. I mean, son, not daughter. So Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita that nobody can overcome the illusory potency of the Lord. It is very deceptive. It is very undetectable most of the time. And unless one is extremely well trained or under the divine shelter, one cannot even detect that he has been successfully influenced or carried away or in illusion. It's said that you take a frog and keep it in a bowl of water, and then, I mean, if you put the frog in a boiling hot water, the frog will try to jump out immediately. But then there's another way you can trap the frog. What you do is you put a frog in a bowl of cold water and slowly heat up the water. Slowly, very little by little. And then the frog will not even be able to perceive that there's some change going on in its environment, until it becomes too late for the frog to jump out. So it doesn't jump out like you throw it into it's like throw it into a bowl of hot water and then it tries to jump out. But you just heat the water slowly, little by little, then it doesn't even perceive that it's being trapped. So Maya works in these two principal ways. One is, suddenly you confront a situation where you have to make a decision, you have to make a choice, etc. Sometimes you're not even aware that you're being led in that direction. Little by little, all your resistances are being eaten away. Until you're completely crash landed, something like that. So Maya works in both these ways. So she comes first and he hears the tingling bells and he watches her move in a very, very attractive manner. Agnidra looks at Purvachiti and then his half opened eyes, he opens a little more and sees how beautiful she is, and slowly, in a very unchecked manner, he becomes more and more illusioned, until finally he can't even distinguish or discriminate and say whether she's a man or a woman or something like that. But Prabhupada mentions that this is the way the material world is organized. There is the male, there is the female, and there's a natural attraction between the two. But material world needs the male and the female because there has to be progeny and some attraction between the two, or they wouldn't unite and create progeny. So there is a purpose behind creating this natural attraction between male and female, because they have to unite and there have to be progeny in this world, and the living entities have to be born repeatedly until they achieve liberation and they go back, whatever, they are completely liberated. Till such time they have to be born in this material world. So there is this principle of attraction that has been embedded into this material creation. So they also say that there is a statement which says that you can't test a man's true character when he is in adversity. That means when he has nothing, you can't test his character. A man's true character is you come to know when he has power or absolute power. That's the real test of character. So similarly, when a man is confronted by a beautiful form of a woman, that's a true test of his character. Krishna says, unless you have my mercy, my protection, you cannot overcome this Maya, or for that matter, any form of Maya. What's that famous verse? Maya, what's that? Daive yesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. So, my divine energy, because it is Krishna's energy, it is very deceptive, it is very, very subtle, it acts in a very, very subtle manner that you cannot even make out, that you are slowly slipping and falling. So that is how Maya works, and Agnitra is no exception, though he was practicing some austerity, but he was also distracted. And this happens to many people, like we discussed in the previous shloka. There's Vishwamitra in the case of Menaka, like that. So for a disciplined, organized society, everybody has to live with some responsibility. Men, women also. Men have to be well trained in the art and practice of brahmacharya. And women also have to be trained, well trained in the art of, shall we say, feminine dharma, or also known as Stri dharma. Both of them. It's unfair to blame only the woman, and also maybe to an extent it's unfair to blame only the men for what's happening. Both have to be properly and suitably trained. Then there is varnashrama, then there is discipline, then there is regulation. In fact, in one of the places it's mentioned, it's like butter and a hot knife when man and woman come together. And if there is no restraint or no regulation or no discipline or no proper training, then things definitely go wrong. If there is no proper training, they will go wrong. I mean, the fault could be, you could say, more with the man or more with the woman. In different cases, it's different. But it's a lack of training, it's a lack of practice of austerity and lack of spiritual goals in life. When one does not have spiritual goals, automatically material goals become prominent. The spirit of wanting to enjoy becomes much more prominent because they don't have neither do they have spiritual knowledge, spiritual goals, spiritual idea, vision, and nor do they have spiritual training, nor do they have proper role models. In society today, nobody has a proper varnashrama role models. Difficult. I mean, role models mean I'm talking about those who are celebrities but who are very pious and devout and responsible in their personal dealings, professional dealings, marital dealings, every way. They are responsible and graceful. So we don't have so many role models. Our role models are always film stars and cricket players and people like that. What can we learn about morality from seeing their lives? We can't learn from them about responsible living. So they are our role models. So, but in Varnashrama system, there was a proper way of keeping everybody in their proper place. Because otherwise this unrestricted mixing with no restriction, no inhibition, no spiritual training, no no spiritual training, no spiritual anything, no morality also. Today in this society there's no concept of morality also. So with nothing of that nature, then there'll be pollution, there'll be contamination in the society. People don't, they think chastity, loyalty is a very old fashioned idea. Very, they think it's a very, it's an idea meant to suppress or repress the womanly class, chastity, loyalty, purity, like that. I think it's a very obnoxious idea whose time is over. Its expiry date is over. So now it's a modern free world. You do what you like. Prabhupada actually says very honestly and brutally honestly, Prabhupada says that men encourage feminism because, I'm saying generally speaking, the capitalist kind of men encourage feminism because they fan the flames of feminism and independence for women and you can do what you like, stuff like that. No need to be loyal and chaste. And these are all curb the natural freedom of the living entity, like that, because men want to take advantage of women. So Prabhupada actually says that there is a vested interest in promoting feminism in society because men want to exploit. Men have this weakness, wanting to exploit women, and like that. That's because again we can trace it back to lack of morality, lack of. So the other thing is that the whole concept of a happy family, where there is purity, loyalty, chastity, and harmony, etc., has collapsed. There's nobody. That family as a unit of the society is also in great danger. Family means I'm speaking about the husband, the wife, the children, the parents, and maybe a few relatives together as a unit in the society. One basic unit in the society is under great threat because everybody kind of earns money nowadays, and so they think that because I earn money, I'm no longer dependent, I'm independent. A lot of women say these days, it's very important to be independent financially, like that. Why should I depend on my husband or somebody else? So this whole concept of pseudo-independence is promoted in society. And the thing about independence is that the first thing that goes out of the window is concept of chastity, purity, loyalty, and so it just goes out of the window. You become a completely different person. You think that women start mistaking and thinking that freedom means to have to do whatever you like and to have no restrictions in one's life, and to look at responsible relationships as a burden, not as a form of security. They look at long-term responsible marriage, responsible relationships, where there's duty, where there's give and take, as a big burden. But but it's a fantasy world that is created for them by men, by other crazy feminists. They create a fantasy world where they think that this is the meaning of freedom, this is how we should live. But then, what are we seeing today? Because they live like that, women live like the way they do now, completely embracing concepts of feminism. What do we see today in the West, where there's that kind of a culture prevalent? There's no family unit. Everybody has money, everybody has, they have more cars and dogs in their house than family members. Dogs, cats, like that, than family members. And after some time they get terribly lonely. and they just don't know which way to turn, what to do, where to go. After a particular age, women, they don't realize that they just get abandoned, mercilessly abandoned by society. Because you're just too old, nobody wants you anymore. Because there's always a fresh crop of young women entering the system. So you're, but they don't realize that they're being victimized in this false propaganda of feminism. Women are actually becoming victims, hopelessly victimized. Whereas, look at the other model, the Vedic model. It's not that, there's this false concept that is promoted, that we should not curb or our natural instincts or desires. We should not curb. That's the new thing in the world today. You feel like doing something, do it. You want to do something, do it. Don't think about tomorrow, day after, consequences, etc. So you live for the moment philosophy. Now you want to do that, you do it. You feel like doing it, do it. Just living for the moment, living for that moment. Now is the time. Now is everything. Now is everything. Like that. That's, live for the moment. So they don't want to get into, anybody, for that matter, men also, they don't want to get into responsible relationships where there's give and take. There's only take, there's no give. Both of them, man, woman, both of them, they only want to take, they don't want to give. So it's strange in America and in the Western world, the lawyers meet first when two people want to get married. They have a prenuptials agreement, and there's a marriage agreement, and there's a post-marriage agreement, divorce. How do we separate the property? And even before they get into a wedlock, then there's a whole dating period. So what if they split up during the dating period? And what if they conceive a child during the dating period? And they conceive a child and then they get married and then they so lawyers have worked out agreements, the prenuptials, then there is the dating time, and then there's the live-in time, and then there's the marriage time. And, so at all stages, there are clauses in financial alimony and matrimony, alimony and other things, they're all built into the agreement. So they have to sign the agreement, the husband and the wife, or the boy and the girl, and before they move in and start living together. They have to sign the agreement, and then when they break up, they go by the agreement. If you have two sons, and if one of them is a boy and a girl, like that, the whole thing is mapped out. So, whereas in Vedic culture, we speak about staying together through the thick and the thin, through the good times, the bad times, supporting one another, helping one another, to achieve harmony in life, also to meet spiritual goals. Such a far cry from the Vedic model. I'm there through the thick and the thin, through the fire, through the good times, the bad times, the ugly times. We stick to each other. We are a family. We support one another. We take care of the kids. We take care of the parents. We do so out of a great sense of we don't look at it as a burden. It's nice, a family structure where you go back at the end of the day, you work the whole day, go back, your mother is there, she's ready to cook for you, she makes things for you, and you sit at home, chat, plan a family vacation, go somewhere, and support one another. And so there's a whole ecosystem of support and relationships, etc., where we consider it our duty. I mean, to this day we see sometimes the father is retired and he doesn't have money, and the eldest son of the family earns money and he gets all his sisters married and then only he marries. So there's such a wonderful spirit of supporting one another, helping one another, which just doesn't exist in the new culture. Each one is on his own, practically, pretty much on his own, her own or his own. But the thing that they forget, what they forget is that man and woman are built differently, are made differently. A woman needs much more than anything else. They don't like to accept it, they don't accept, they will deny it, they will speak gender equality, but a woman needs emotional support. A woman needs to receive affection, to receive love, to receive, to be, what is the right word? Pampered, to be given attention. Woman's psychology is pretty much like that. Though in modern day, if you speak such language, they will say you're pretty old-fashioned. We're the same as men. We don't need. So there's a lot of men bashing going on in the name of feminism. They say that no, it's not true. We're equal like that, but it's not. That's not the case. Women like to talk. Women like to receive affection, attention. They need pampering. They need to go out shopping. They are made psychologically. They're made a little differently. Men are different. Men tend to be a little different. I'm saying generally speaking. I mean, there's a whole thing. Women come from Venus and men from Mars, like that. So many books written on it. But we can't defy our basic nature. Our basic nature is like that. Women, Stree, she expands. She likes to have a family. She likes this. She likes that. And women are less renounced. I mean, that's not wrong. I'm not saying women are. And Prabhupada would. I mean, there are times when Prabhupada said women are less intelligent, like that. But Prabhupada also said women today in the modern world can do just about everything that the man can do in the modern world. Though he said that because of their basic nature, basic psychological, physiological profile, they're different from men. I mean, no matter how you stand on top of the tallest building in this world and scream, men, women are equal rights, we're also flying airplanes, you also fly airplanes, we can do this, you can do that. All that you say, but there is a physiological, psychological difference. I mean, at least at the physical level, there's a tremendous amount of difference. There's this guy, Usain Bolt. He's the fastest human being, I believe. He runs the 100 meters in something like 9.7 seconds or something like that. Women can't do it faster than 12, 13 seconds. I mean, so whatever level you look, there is a physical difference. I mean, physically they are very, very different. A woman conceives and has a kid. The man doesn't. But to make the society complete, there's the man, there's a woman. I mean, biologically also, there is this necessity that they unite, but they unite with dignity, with responsibility. It's not, if you look at it, there is this concept of purity in marriage, even in Christianity. Loyalty, purity, chastity, abstinence is there in Christianity. In fact, until recently, adultery was a punishable offense, even in India. Adultery is a big sin according to Christianity also. In India, it was a punishable sin. If somebody is committing adultery, that means you're married to one person and you're associating intimately, sexually with another person, it's not just a sin, it's a crime. You can't do that. You can be hauled up, a case can be filed by the police, and you can be punished for that. But in India, unfortunately, because of pressure from leftists and secularists and maybe some feminists, that was changed. Or maybe men also, I don't know. I guess a lot of people contributed to this. Definitely the leftists and the secularists. So they changed the law. They said it's no longer an offense under the law. It can, according to your belief system, you can probably consider it as sin. But it's not an offense. It's not a crime under law. That was a big disaster in the sense that, that changed Indian mindset very irreversibly, because it's no longer a crime. It's okay, you can get married to someone and then have someone else as your partner or something else, and it's no longer a crime. So in other words, one is encouraging the dilution of sacredness of marriage. There's something sacred, there's something sacrosanct, there's something very pure, something very nice, something very socially protective about the institution of marriage. The woman is protected, the man is protected, children have some place to go back, children have parents, and the man is loyal, considered, he's considered a gentleman if he sticks with one wife and the rest of his life, and he's actually considered a successful man. In the olden days, I'm not saying olden days means hundreds of years, 10, 20, 30 years back. That's how this country was living. But because of this excessive influence of this culture, the media, the social media, and somehow we have been tricked into accepting film stars as role models for the society. It's leading to a tremendous amount of erosion in family values and culture, and especially a family as a unit of society. Actually, family is a unit where we get security, we get protection, we get affection, we get love, we get shelter. We get our identity when family structure is protected. But imagine that gets eroded because, in other words, you're very indirectly saying it's okay, you can get married to someone, live with somebody else, you can associate sexually with whomever you like, as many people as you like. So it destroys the concept of living for one another, supporting one another. The whole concept is destroyed by this act. So when the government decided that it's no longer a crime, so it's actually a reflection of society's changing values. But maybe there are still some societies where adultery is still considered a crime. In fact, there is this whole thing. Jesus Christ was supposed to be very strict about punishing people who are adulterous, which means going outside the boundaries of marriage. So adultery is an offense, it's a sin, it's a crime according to Christian idea also. Definitely according to the Vedic culture. It was considered a very... So here we are talking about women also being very responsible, because women, by the way their body is built, they can attract, seduce, distract the men. That's a fact. So women have to be responsible. Men also. Men have to be, they have to learn the art of restraint, respecting women, guarding them, protecting them. And women have to be responsible, saying that they can't, what is the right word? They can't, they shouldn't become an agent of provocation of men in the society, intentionally or otherwise also. They shouldn't become. Men also have a responsibility to be respectful to women. Very respectful, very careful with women. So women, hence it is said that women have a culture that they have to follow. Men have responsibility that they have to respect. Then there is harmony in the society. Then together they can focus on what is known as higher goals in life. But if the women start looking at, what Purva Chitti is doing, she's obviously trying to seduce Agni Draha. So if women were to lack the determination to protect chastity, their own purity, their own, and then the effect can be catastrophic in the society if women decide to experiment or become casual in their relationships. Then there will be catastrophe. Then there's no concept of security. Then the relationships last as long as each one gets what they want. And the moment they think they can get what they are getting here through some other relationship, they'll dump this and go elsewhere. Mercilessly, without any remorse or guilt. Without any remorse, without any guilt, without any shame. They will do that. So, in other words, society will become animalistic, where passion and lust rule. Passion, lust are the principles, by which they live. That is pretty animalistic life. So then, hence there is this whole concept of training the men. Prabhupada said, we believe that there has to be respectful distance between, we have to, even from the way we address one another, be with one another, respect, there has to be respect. But then in the olden days it is mentioned that, sometimes the Kshatriyas, because they had so much lust, they were allowed to have more than one wife or something like that. We see that Bhishma got Pandu married twice. First he got Kunti, then he got Madri. He picked up Madri and he got both of them married to Pandu. But then, see, the whole thing is built like that, and then there is a concept of Vanaprastha also. After a particular age, after a particular period of time, both of them retire from they enter a different phase. Vanaprastha is you focus much more intensely on spiritual goals and sadhana and practice of celibacy and like that, much more intensely. There's a concession, 25 years, 30 years as a grihastha. After that, we cannot any longer hide behind the freedom that grihastha ashram gives. We have to become responsible. So Madri, when they had, he retired after some time. He retired, went to the forest, and he started living there with his two wives and practicing austerity. Pandu, Maharaj Pandu. So Kshatriyas were given that kind of a little bit of a extra license because they are very passionate by nature. But the Brahmanas were expected to be very, very careful. But the Brahmanas were a different class of men altogether anyway because of their spiritual endeavors and austerities and sadhana and vratas and others that they constantly were performing. So for them, the man-woman uniting together was not really the source of pleasure or something. Yes, there was pleasure, but that wasn't the main thing. The main thing was even doing that also with responsibility so that the progeny becomes, even the children that are born, in that process, through a Vedic sanction, through a Vedic process, become assets in the society. But somehow the whole culture has changed because of the influence of the media. I guess everything you can trace it back a little bit to capitalism, in the sense that you promote somebody as the role model, some movie star, cricket star, and you start wanting to live like him or her. And you think anything else which doesn't conform to that kind of a role model as being very old fashioned. But the institution of marriage has survived millions and millions of yugas, not just years. And in Kali Yuga, it tends to deteriorate, but other times, this, Prabhupada says, man is married properly and has a woman as a wife, as this, he's safe. He's very safe. He's not vulnerable. He's not at risk, because he has a wife who takes care of him and satisfies all his needs. So the moment that takes a hit, whole society changes irreversibly. And women also have difficulty nowadays accepting that their life becomes complete when they get married and have children, have a family, like that. It reminds me of a joke that I read recently. So there's some husband and wife, they're talking to one another. I don't know if I mentioned this joke. They're talking to one another, and the wife knows, she's a writer or something, she knows English. So she comes to the husband and says, English is a funny language. Very, very funny language. Lot of unnecessary words in English. She says, I was reading something, and I saw this word. There is this word, complete and finish. She says, both of them mean the same thing, pretty much the same thing. I was given a task, I completed it, I finished it. Both the same. Why do we need two words? Complete, finish. One word would have done. Why is English like that? Why is so English complicated? Complete and finish. I completed my task, I completed my lunch, I finished my lunch. More or less, pretty much the same thing. Then the husband will tell the wife, no. They're very, very different. You have no idea. Come here, sit with me. I'll explain to you what is the difference between the word complete and finish. The wife says, oh really? They're different? Okay. So she goes, and the husband says that, a woman is a woman, and she becomes complete when she gets married. She has a husband, she has wife, she has kids, she has a home, she has someone to pay for the bills, she goes shopping and somebody will pay for it. Her life is complete when she gets married. You know what I'm going to say next. So, woman's life is complete when she gets married. And then he says, the man's life is finished when he gets married. I don't want to comment beyond this. I want to say, it should not be like that. Ideally speaking, it shouldn't be like that. A woman's life is complete, and she will help make the husband's life also complete. Not finished. She has a responsibility to make them. See, actually, this business of give and take is there in a family. Parents support the kids. Kids support the parents when they grow old. So there's that story about Kali Yuga, Maharaj Yudhishthira is there, and Bhima will come and ask, there's somebody who's come here who wants to meet you, and he has this question, he's asking me to answer. I don't know the answer. And then one of the question Bhima reports to Yudhishthira is that you take water from a big pot and pour it into 10 different pots. You can fill 10 different pots. Big pot, 10 different pots. But after some time, you take these 10 pots and you pour the water back into the original pot, It's not full, it's half. What happened? The Bhima will say, I'm terribly confused. I don't know what you're asking, what you're saying. So, I mean, like that, there are a string of questions about Kali Yuga, he asks. So, when Yudhishthira hears all these questions, he says, call that man. He is personification of Kali. We should bind him somewhere. We should imprison him. Then they go out and see he's gone. But Yudhishthira explains that in Kali Yuga, what we're going to see is one parent, one set of parents can take care of 10 children, 5 children. But when these 5 children grow up, they can't take care of that one set of parents. One set of parents, father, mother, take care of 5 or 6 or 7 children. But all of them together will not take care of the parents. So that's a reflection of this age. But I'll tell you what, the only remedy, Prabhupada, which is why he said, my mission is half complete. It gets completed when Varnashrama system. That means communities, Vedic communities come up in and around the temple or wherever. Which means there is this principle of bhakti, purity, chastity, family, give and take, love, whatever is there, purity, chastity, everything is there. That kind of a society, Prabhupada said, I want to build based on principles of Daivi Varnashrama system, not on caste basis. Daivi Varnashrama system, the fundamental unit of a Daivi Varnashrama system is not caste, is family. Is family. Where you're cared for, you're shown affection, you're shown love, you find shelter, you find friendship, you find, you find basically people in the family accept you for what you are. You find a stress-free place for living. My place, my home, my room, my this, my parents, my family, my sister, my brother, I mean, they're mine. So, we need that. So, that kind of a security. So, the basic unit of Daivi Varnashrama system is family, not so much caste. Caste is a social engineering thing. Someone is a tailor, someone is this, someone is that, someone is a carpenter, someone is a pandit, someone is a teacher, someone is a scholar, someone is pandit, like that. That's a social thing. But within all communities, within all castes, there is a family. The family is there. So, Prabhupada said that there is no hope for this world except Daivi Varnashrama system and Krishna conscious way of life. Because otherwise, society will become animalistic. There is no doubt. Just a matter of time. So, people become animalistic, communities become very selfish, and countries become even more crooked and selfish. Because the basic unit in the society, the family, is broken. They have become very selfish. Each one on his own, for himself. And nobody wants to take responsibility. The parents want to abandon kids. Just want to abandon or not have kids at all. If they have kids, they want to abandon them. They say it's a big headache. Can't manage. And these days, of course, kids are also conceived so wrongly that they are demons, little demons. Parents go mad trying to bring up kids. So much so that parents regret, they say, why did we ever conceive? We didn't know what we are getting into, like that. But Krishna consciousness has the solution. So there is purity at all levels. Marriage is a sacred coming together. Sacred loving exchange or vows. It's not called agreement. Modern day, the idea of marriage is it's an agreement. It's a commercial kind of an agreement between one man and a woman. But in spiritual world, in our Vedic system, it was a commitment. It was a lifetime commitment. It's very fundamental, what shall I say, aspect of living. I have to be my family, and that's what I am. That's a bit of what I am. Family is what I am. So, as against looking at marriage as an agreement between two individuals. Okay, let's do business together. Okay, let's live together and see if it will work. That's not how marriage is done. Marriage is done through the thick and the thin, through the good and the bad times, through the ugly times. Mother Sita is advised by Ahalya. She says, the first quality of a woman is to stay with the husband, whether he's a king or is no longer the king or something. He's your king anyway. He may or may not be the king of the world, but he's your king. He's the king of your life. Like that. So she advises Mother Sita. And Mother Sita says that I'm very happy to hear this, because this is more or less what I have been told from wherever at my birthplace, Janaka, and then when I was in Ayodhya. Everybody spoke the same language, and you're speaking the same language, and I feel very reinforced. I feel very secure to follow that. So we have a challenge. We not just build temples, eventually we have to build Vedic Varnashrama, Daivi Varnashrama communities. Little communities around the temple which live according to these principles of love, sharing, caring, giving, taking, and where the sacredness of everything is preserved, the sacredness of husband-wife relationship, the sacredness of guru-disciple relationship. Because if we learn to dilute at one place the husband-wife relationship, then we'll start diluting the guru-shishya relationship also. And guru-shishya relationship is so sacred and sacrosanct. It's just a matter of time before that also gets eaten up. The sacredness, sanctity, and the purity, and the mood of wanting to serve, everything gets eaten up. And then if the Guru-Shishya relationship is also gone, what else is left in this world? And it's there exactly the opposite. Here we live together with responsibility. We understand there is sin, crime. Even Christianity believed that. But now, if that concept of crime and sin is taken away, so there's no need to feel guilty or regret or feel bad about, going outside of marriage or something like that. Then what is there in the society? What kind of morality will the society show? So, devotees have a huge responsibility to preserve whatever little is left, build a whole community that swears by this, that lives by these principles. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Any questions, comments? Yeah.
These things are looking very good, especially for hearing the senses that in our scriptures. But when we analyze these things more deeply, and what we see in the reality situation, we find out something is different. For example, we see in the examples of the positive examples, mostly Lord Ram or Krishna. But while we find out many examples are there in the scriptures also, where we find out the traditional family culture is not working. For example, Chitraketu Maharaj or Valmiki story we can find out.
Chitraketu and?
Valmiki story, when Narad Muni told that you can tell to your family it is supporting or not. So we find out not supporting. Not only these things, we find out in our family culture also. If you go to 50 years back, or we can see just our relatives or family. So they are staying together, but they are fighting like anything. We find out this type of situation. So to make role model to our old generation, it is very difficult for the children who see the situation personally in the home. which is totally opposite what we hear into the Srimad Bhagavatam classes. You told about morality, care, or love. So these examples is not allowed us to digest the concept of staying in a family, which is shows always a good, and no need to work for extra supports or safety, either physically or financially, or not go for any agreement in our life based on our personal choice. So how to digest this concept, and we can take the inspiration from that.
So effectively you're asking that this seems like a concept that is confined in books, scriptures, but outside though they seem to be living together, they're fighting, and it's just a superficial living together business, but everybody is selfish and everybody is not finding any peace in living together. Yeah, that is so that's a dangerous sign that which society is degrading. It's a very definite and dangerous sign that there is degradation, because along with everything else, the concept of fairness in society is also going. Truthfulness and fairness. Like Dhritarashtra was pretty unfair. He wanted to steal the kingdom that should have otherwise gone to Pandu and give it to his kingdom, his sons rather. He wanted to give it to his sons. So that was a pretty unfair thing to do, stealing from Pandu, his own brother's children. And after they come back after 13 years, he refuses to give back their share, which they had anyway in the prasna. He refuses to give it back to them. So there is progressive degradation is there in society values, in truthfulness, in generosity, in the concept of fairness, being fair. So we lose faith in family members because they're no longer fair, they're no longer truthful, they're very selfish. So hence, if you go to the courts today, maybe a significant percentage of the disputes that happen in the court regarding money, property, etc. is within the family, within siblings. One brother against the other, within the family, partition suits. They are the most regular type of cases you find in the courts. Partition suits, because one member of the family thinks the other has cheated him or misled him or been unfair in partition. So truthfulness is also gone, generosity is gone, fairness is gone. So that began in Dwapar Yuga itself. Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra were prime examples of being unfair. And because there is a erosion in spiritual values also. One does not have any spiritual value left in the society. Nobody chants, nobody reads the Gita, nobody worships the Lord, nobody has salagrams at home. Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Brahmanas used to worship the salagrams. Nobody does that anymore. The Brahmanas used to distribute wealth. They should distribute wealth, they should distribute knowledge, they should distribute blessings, they should distribute everything, whatever they have. They would do homas, yagyas, austerity for the betterment of the whole world. Where is that spirit now? So there is a all-round degradation or dilution in Vedic culture. So we have to pick it up, we have to revive it. It's down in the pits now. We have to revive it. So your generation has this huge responsibility. First, by being a responsible son, responsible brother, responsible, if one becomes a Krsna, responsible husband, responsible son. Are we willing as a society, as an individual, take care of the parents when they fall sick, when they're really sick, when they're badly sick, when they're bedridden? How many of us are ready? So we have to build communities where all these things are practiced. So this is there. There's from Satya, Treta, Dwapara, there is degradation. Ashwatthama was the son of a Brahmana, but he behaved in such an abominable way. After he was pardoned by Draupadi, after having killed 5 sons of Draupadi, Draupadi pardons him and he tries to kill Parikshit, the last surviving heir in the womb of Uttara. What kind of a Brahmana is he? What kind of a role model? What he can teach? What can we learn from somebody like Ashwatthama? So there is degradation. So Prabhupada said there are no Brahminical class of people anymore. So we have to rebuild that class. Bold, fearless, selfless, large-hearted, forgiving, strong. The Brahminical class, the head. Prabhupada said if the head is set right, they know how to make the rest of the body all right. The Kshatriyas are like the arms and the strength like that. The Vaishyas like the thighs or something. So whole society can be rebuilt if there are strong Brahmanas. Exemplary, fearless, selfless Brahmanas. Brahmanas are terribly selfish now. We keep reading so many times wealth from some temple stolen by the priests. The pujaris, they steal. And have just absolutely no concept of existence of Atma or Karma or anything. They just... I remember in our temple complex, there was a Sai Baba temple that came up within the same compound. These Brahmana priests from Vaishnava background came and they were chanting Purusha Sukta prayers for the installation of... What a tragedy this is. Unbelievable tragedy. They're chanting Purusha Sukta, which is meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What's this installation of some... So there's no way you can look, there's no which way you can look for guidance, for inspiration, except the books of Prabhupada and the devotees, except the books of Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada's books elaborately explains how to rebuild. So there is a responsibility, there is a challenge. It's not easy. But somehow, mystically, Lord Chaitanya has said, 10,000 years after his appearance, there will be a golden period when culture will be there, purity will be there, bhakti will flourish, people will be dharmic. So we're just about at the beginning of that age. 500 years are done. So we don't know what kind of... Chanting of the holy name of the Lord is so inconceivably, mystically powerful that it can change the hearts of those who are not devotees also. Just by hearing that the chanting is so powerful, it can bring about a favorable change in the consciousness of the general masses of people also. So Mahaprabhu said it's like a flood. Nobody is unaffected. Everybody gets affected when there's a flood. So when there's a flood of the holy name, everybody gets affected. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.